Hey guys, it's me, Stephanie, and I'm coming at you guys with a new video. This is kind of like a podcast kind of thing, basically, where I talk to you about my thoughts about current subjects going on in the world, in the United States, and globally. In the world and globally, same thing. Um, the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about today for this first podcast video kind of thing is the emergence of modeling, vanity, and media. If you have any kind of social media, which obviously if you're watching this on YouTube or on any other kind of social media platform, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The emergence of Instagram models, whether they are male or female, has been something that has just skyrocketed and boomed in the last couple of years. So basically, what an Instagram model is someone who is on Instagram, obviously, and sometimes they can be paid and sponsored, or sometimes they're not. And they usually have thousands of followers and thousands of likes on their photos, and their photos are usually of them, obviously. And their likeness is something that gains popularity and it gains a sense of longing, I guess, from other people. So, the emergence of modeling, vanity, and media, basically, to me, I'm pretty much just talking off the top of my head right now. I didn't write anything down, so if I'm all over the place, then I apologize. The emergence of vanity. I feel like with the camera phones and just phones in general, and websites like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, basically where you can pretty much create a profile. I think it actually all started with MySpace. I think MySpace started the emergence of a lot of social media vanity in the media. So if you remember MySpace, you could customize your own profile. You could put your own profile picture. You could put a song. You could put your about me, your top friends, top 8, I think it was, and pretty much just have a lot of friends. If you know them, whether you know them or not, you could add them, and people would see your profile, and you could customize it whenever you want. And I think that with the emergence of websites like MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and apps like, Instagram and things like that, people really have become more vain and more interested in their image, I guess, and portraying a part of themselves, which only shows the positive things that they go through in their lives and not the negative things. Sometimes people share the negative things, that they go through in the not so much in photographs, but in your caption, or whatever you put under the photo. Maybe if you're going through a breakup, you'll probably post a couple quotes or post some things sharing about your life. But for the most part, if you look at the most popular people on Instagram, they're usually very attractive. They usually have a lot of followers, and depending on what their age range, they usually show a lot of skin, and pretty much they just show the things that they want people to see. They show the trips, they show the food, the very fancy restaurants that they go to, the hotels, parties, just things that everyone, remembers as positive experiences and positive moments. And yeah, so my opinion on all of this is that I think it's inevitable with apps like this, especially on Facebook when you make statuses, and with things like having likes, and the heart showing up, and people liking your photos, people commenting on your photos, people tagging people in your photos to look at your picture, your hair, your makeup, your body, whatever it may be. People start to really what's the word for it? They really start to identify with the likes and the positive feedback and the negative feedback as well. So an example, let's just say that, you're on Instagram and you're Instagram famous, or maybe you're becoming Instagram famous, and you post a selfie just of your makeup and your hair or whatever, not anything revealing, and you probably won't get as much likes on that photo as opposed to a photo of you, with your boobs hanging out and just everything exposed, showing your body, male or female. with things like that, obviously people, I think they start to feed off of the positive feedback and even the negative feedback. So with the positive feedback, people having more likes on your photos of you being like half naked or whatever, or just having that kind of pressure to stay hot, I guess, stay relevant, and to keep gaining followers. It actually has become very profitable to be I'll just say they call it social media influencer, or, influencer, beauty influencer, or social media influencer, or whatever influencer, product, whatever. That's the new term for it, where basically you get paid to show certain products on your page because you have a lot of people visiting and frequenting your page. So yeah, people take advantage of it and they get sponsorships. If you've ever seen, the fit tea, or the hairfinity pills, or the waist trainers, or bodybuilding products or clothing, or just pretty much anything that someone with, a bit of modern marketing skills would want to implant into social media. I think that this all is I'll just say it's natural for things like this to happen, and for people to want to see their face. Scientifically, it's proven that people they look for a face, like the structure of a face, and it brings you comfort. It brings you a sense of knowing, and that's why when you look at paintings or look at something kind of abstract, you kind of look for a face in it. That's why people are more attracted to seeing someone's face rather than seeing a picture of food or a picture of, a nice building. They rather see a picture of someone's face, someone who's really attractive, someone who represents, something that they want. And whether it is that they want to be with them or they want to look like them, people are just more attracted to seeing someone's face, seeing someone's body, seeing skin. It's just a natural attraction. Like, for example, like if let's say you're at a grocery store and you see someone wearing a very low cut shirt and her boobs are just really hanging out. It doesn't matter if you enjoy looking at boobs or whatever. It's just the fact that they're out there. You're just going to look at them because they're out there. You're not accustomed to everyone, showing off skin like that. It's not something that, you can just not look at. It's almost impossible to not look, even a little. So whether you're male or female, I really believe that. And I think that's honestly true. And you can admit that. Like, if you see someone showing more skin, you're more prone to look at it. And I just think that's just really natural. I don't think that means anything is wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're sexually attracted to that person. It just means that it just caught your eye, So I think that all of this is natural, and technology obviously is changing the way that we view ourselves. I think we have put ourselves on more of a pedestal, and we are not showing 100% of ourselves. We're showing the 25% of our lives that we want people to see. We show the moments where we're getting ready to go out, or we're actually, at a concert, or we're at a fancy restaurant, or we're going on a date, and, your hair and your makeup is perfect and everything like that. But once you take away the phone, I feel like it really does imprint some very psychological issues within our self-image. As I said, vanity. I think too much of anything is not very resourceful. So it is great to love yourself, and it's great to love the way that you look, but to feel like you always have to post a picture for likes, for that validation, for that feeling of acceptance, and for any kind of, self-confidence, I feel like at first it may not be like that. It may just be like you just think you look nice this day, so you want to take a photo. But sometimes when you're not feeling too good, you might be like, you know what, let me take some photos that show a little bit of skin so people can give me compliments, and so that I feel better about myself. Then you're relying on external things for validation and acceptance, and self-acceptance as well. The issue with this is that once you don't get that validation, what's going to happen? How are you going to feel about yourself? Let's just say, you God forbid, got into a car accident and your face was deformed forever, will you still feel good about yourself? Will you still rely on those likes? You probably won't get as many because you're not as attractive as you were. And, maybe people will still look at you because of the shock value of what happened to you. But whether it's an accident physically or not, or maybe you just lose followers because somebody else is coming up and, maybe you take a year off of Instagram and you come back and you're not getting as much love as you used to. If you define yourself based on what people think of you, then who are you when people don't like you? Who are you when people are commenting negative comments on your photos, making fun of you and telling you that you need to change yourself? How does that make you feel then? So I think it's very important that people don't rely on external things such as social media and likes for their self-image, confidence, and, things like that. Besides vanity, I feel there's a lot of pressure now that, showing that 25% of positivity in your life on social media is completely harmless. However, when you take away the cell phone, when you take away the laptop, when you take away the, desktop, whatever, take away your iPad, and you're going outside and you don't feel comfortable anymore without wearing makeup, and you don't feel comfortable without looking and dressing, to the nines. Like, if you don't feel comfortable just being free, then I feel like that really makes a huge impact on your psyche, because you're constantly feeling like you're being judged, It's just like this unrealistic expectation of perfection. And I noticed this because I noticed that obviously with YouTube and YouTube videos and makeup tutorials and things like that, people are just going to become better at doing makeup. They're going to be more educated on makeup and beauty and hair and whatever. But I think seeing children is a very, very, very important indicator of what is going on in society, in media, because children, they pretty much are just parrots. They just repeat everything that people say. They're just kind of like monkey see, monkey do. This is what's hot right now, so I'm going to do it. I want to fit in. This is what everyone is doing, so I'm going to do it. Children, they really don't think for themselves as much because they're more influenced on things that have come before them, So an indicator of how social media, vanity, and modeling I haven't really spoken much about modeling yet. I kind of mentioned it, but an indicator of what is going on in our society. If you look at children, you see them wearing makeup. You see them with their hair all done. You see them dressed more provocatively. You see them dressed more extra, for lack of a better term. They're usually dressed and done up a lot more than I feel like I never wore makeup in high school or middle school, and barely, like, in college, sometimes I wear makeup, but I really don't. But I just remember in middle school, I never ever wore makeup. The most makeup I ever wore was probably eyeliner, which I didn't even know how to use, and it just always looked pretty bad. And I didn't even wear like lip gloss or anything. Like, I really did not wear makeup. It wasn't weird to not wear makeup in high school, but I feel like now people they feel more pressure to wear makeup, or maybe they just want to, or maybe they just like it. But I think the reason why is because social media is showing, that 25% of people's lives when they're wearing makeup, when their hair is done, when they have their outfit all put together and everything. I think our children, well, I don't have children, but like the children of, today, they really subconsciously are taking all of these things in, and they feel, I think, more pressure to look a certain way. I think girls, I can only speak about like African American women, also white women and other women, just women in general on social media. I feel as if there's a certain kind of look. There's like 3 predominant looks on social media. There's one, where you have the straight hair and your eyebrows are on fleek, and you got the red or vampy lipstick or nude lipstick or whatever, that baddie look. You guys all know what I'm talking about. And then there's that fitness, kind of look. The girl who has abs and she still somehow manages to have fat in the perfect places in her boobs and butt, and has like a very curvy frame, and the whole slim thick, thing. Whether you're white or black, that's a thing, you know, that slim kind of girl. And then there's I don't know, there's that girl who's just, always done up. I guess that's baddie as well. But going with fitness is like the yoga girl who somehow never wears clothes when she does yoga, and you know shows off the more provocative yoga poses. And there are even, it's really a thing to be nude as well doing yoga and fitness. And not so much fitness because you need that support, but yoga, it's more of a thing to see like yoga girls like showing off their body, showing off their butt. And I feel like yoga is a very spiritual practice because you learn your limits and you learn how to push past those boundaries. And just yoga in general is just it's a form of meditation and it's a form of self-love, I feel like. So I feel like when it's being exploited for vanity and for more provocative reasons to boost someone's low self-esteem, I feel like it takes away from the message of yoga. But anyways, those are the kind of things that you see. And then there's just the regular fashion blogger kind of girls who just dress, really nice. Obviously, it's fashion blogging and whatever. So anyways, I just think that, there's like the straight haired girl, straight black hair, fleeky eyebrows, bold lipstick. There's a girl with blonde hair or whatever kind of color hair, curly hair, always curly, with a big butt, always wearing sports bras, always, nails did, hair did, everything did. And, the fitness, like spiritual kind of thing. I would just say fitness and spiritual are totally different, but the fitness girl with the abs and, the butt and just showing everything off. And then the, spiritual yoga, naked, free the nipple type of girl. These are just the stereotypical things. Obviously, I'm not saying everyone is like that, but you can agree that these are the people who are these are the forms that women are kind of molding themselves into, and children as well. So I feel like, the vanity and low self-esteem that a lot of women are exhibiting in these photos are affecting our children and the children of right now. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be, the advocate for the other side. Obviously, there are people who just love themselves and they love how they look and they love their body and they want to be naked on Instagram, not because of any likes or not because they're trying to impress anyone, just because that's just what they want to do, which is completely fine. That's perfectly fine. And if you have true self-confidence, it doesn't matter what anyone says about you. It doesn't matter how anyone judges you. You're still going to do whatever you want to do. I'm talking about the women who feel as if, their confidence is based on the number of likes that they have, or if they're wearing makeup that day. Obviously I wear makeup too. I love doing makeup. I do makeup tutorials and things like that, but I don't feel bad when I don't wear makeup. Like, I can go anywhere, literally anywhere without wearing makeup. I could go to a wedding without wearing makeup. I mean, I wouldn't, because it's a formal event and, I just like dressing up and it's fun and, you're going to be taking pictures and you want to look nice. But if someone told me, oh, you can't wear makeup to so-and-so's wedding, I would just be like, I would obviously be like, why? And kind of like, I just want to, but I wouldn't feel like I wouldn't go just because I can't wear makeup. I feel like I'm still beautiful with or without makeup, and my self-confidence isn't, it's just an accessory. It's like doing your hair, a bracelet. It's like something that you add to just, spruce something up a bit. It's not something that you need. And so I just think that this is just very interesting. I just really want to know everyone's opinions. If you agree with me, if you disagree, you're totally okay with disagreeing with me. Actually, if you do disagree, please comment down below and tell me, your perspective on it. I think everyone should have their own opinions. So the emergence of modeling, I kind of touched on it with the Instagram models, but I feel like, how they say every black man wants to be a rapper or a football player or a basketball player. And that's just a stereotype, which isn't true, but that's something that a lot of people aspire to be, which isn't bad at all. But I feel like what's taking the place of that right now is modeling when it comes to females, whether you're black or white or whatever. Everyone has an Instagram. Not everyone, but people who do have an Instagram, there are a lot of more people who try hard to portray a certain look and to seem more professional, people literally hire photographers or have photographers take professional photos just to put on Instagram and just to be Instagram models. And the reason why I say this is because modeling is actually a very hard thing to do. It actually is extremely hard. And the reason why I say this is because I remember there's like this thing at my school for like modeling, and I went to one of their meetings, and I've always thought about modeling because people have told me, oh, you should be a model, whatever. And I never knew if I actually wanted to do it. I'm a complete train wreck in front of the camera. I'd rather be behind the camera. But I just like creating. I like to have a vision and to have, people help me to set it out. But I noticed that modeling is very, very, very hard. It's way harder than people think. It's not as easy as just taking photos on Instagram or taking selfies where you're holding the camera and, millions, well, not millions, but like there's a whole crew watching you take photos in front of a set, or you having to take winter photos in the summer or summer photos in the winter, you having to walk down a runway in front of many, many people, cameras. Like, that is really hard. It's a really hard thing to do. And going on castings and going through that rejection constantly and judgments on your body, on your face, on your personality, on everything, literally everything, people tearing you apart constantly, that is extremely hard. You have to have extremely tough skin. And I feel like, the emergence of Instagram modeling and just, I'm just going to say quote unquote modeling, because I don't think it's real modeling unless you're actually, doing this for a client. Like if you're actually being hired to model for a client, not just taking photos for Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, that stuff is really freaking hard. And you have to have very thick skin. You have to have a lot of confidence, and you really have to know who you are, because you're being molded constantly by designers, by people who want their products sold. You're representing them. So you're constantly being molded into different looks, into different personas, but you still have to have that inner you of who you are and that inner confidence to know that no matter what anyone says about you, that you're made the correct way. You're made, like, your essence is perfect. And although it might not be right for a certain client, that doesn't mean that you're not attractive to someone else. It doesn't mean that you're not attracted to yourself. It doesn't mean that your value is any less just because someone is saying that you need to gain or lose any kind of weight to make you more profitable. So modeling definitely, I feel like, seems very easy, and people think that just because you're attractive, like if you're a guy and you have abs, that you can just be a model, or if you're a girl and you have a nice body, or if you're really, just beautiful and attractive, that you can be a model. It actually has nothing to do with that. Honestly, it has nothing. Okay, obviously it does have a lot to do with the way that you look, but there are a lot of very attractive people on shows like America's Next Top Model who are very attractive, very beautiful, very good looking, but they lack that self-confidence, and maybe it's just not their talent. Maybe you're just not good taking pictures in front of a camera. Maybe it's just not your thing. It doesn't mean you're not attractive. I think that modeling these days has become kind of like a status thing. It's not even about the profession. It's not even about the passion and the drive and, the camera loving you. It's just about status. And it's just about showing people, like, look at me. I can take professional photos. I look fancy. It's like people think that, like, they try to look more successful than they actually are. People are more worried about looking and people seeing them in a certain light rather than how they see themselves, and rather than making something of themselves, which is actually substantial, which has nothing to do with anyone, which has everything to do with themselves, So I feel like modeling has become more of a status thing and has become more of like a vain thing where you want people to think that you're important and that, you're like the reality TV stars on TV. It's very unfortunate. The reason why I say it's unfortunate is because there are a lot of models who are very, very good at what they do and are just naturally amazing, or they, have trained to become that amazing. And I feel like it's being kind of exploited. It's becoming kind of a joke, So when you see like an Instagram model, you don't really take her as serious as a high fashion model. Also, I just think that media in general, the media with the emergence of magazines and newspapers and things like that, and now the internet, it has become a mirror of the way that people view themselves. And I think right now people view themselves as needing someone else's acceptance, needing someone else's likes, and needing someone else to tell them that they look good, or needing the amount of followers to think that they are important, to think that they have something worthwhile, to think that they have something to offer the world. When in actuality, just being yourself and just being a genuine person, being a nice person, or just having, some kind of talent, that's enough. Honestly, you don't need people to tell you that you're pretty. You don't need people to tell you that you have a nice body. You don't need to look like her. You don't need to look like him. You don't need to be in the gym every single day trying to look like someone else and hating yourself in the process. The reason why you need to work on yourself and develop yourself and build yourself up is for you. And it shouldn't have anything to do with anyone else, what anyone else's opinion is of you, and what anyone else thinks of you. So thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast video kind of thing. This is my first time doing this, and as I said, I didn't write any of this down. So I was just talking. So maybe if I was all over the place, I apologize. And tell me, you guys, if you want me to talk about something else, if you have a particular topic that you would like to talk about and to share your opinion about, comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything that I said. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.